Welcome back to the channel for part 2 of the only Fatalis guide you will ever need. Last episode was pretty much all the background information, and this is all the action. I'm going to start off with the cannon setup and go through phase 1, 2, and 3, things you want to look out for offensively and defensively, and then this video is going to end with a full run of beating Fatalis from start to finish. If you like what you see in these videos, please like and subscribe, and here we go. Okay, back to the Albatross and the mansion here. When should you do this? You should do the bombing run when you're solo and you just want to get at least one head break and go for the kill. You're not farming the eye specifically because you're probably not going to get 2 head breaks. I mean, you still can. Or you're in a team of 4. Fatalis has a huge health pool. Solo, he's like 66,000. 4-player, I think he's like 150, 60,000, something like that. I don't know, maybe 200,000. It's huge, basically. Everybody needs to do their part. I think 4 players, everyone needs to do 45, 46,000 HP damage. So everybody's fair and square. But anyways, you come down here, you're going to set up these bombs right in front of this first cannon. You're going to go ahead and grab these rocks up here. Load up the cannons. And back to my original point, this isn't great for if you want to farm the eye, and it's a much easier fight if you try to get 2 head breaks, even if you don't necessarily get it. But if you try to do that, you're much more likely to beat them, and it's harder because you get through phase 1 so quickly by doing this. I totaled it up. This run specifically, it's going to do 7,089 damage, but it's going to be somewhere between 7,000 and 7,500, and phase 1 gets eclipsed after you go through a certain threshold of his HP. So it's better not to do this even solo. It's better to fight Fatalis solo in general without your Palico, to make sure you bait out those cones, because if you have your Palico, the cones are going to go in weird directions, but we'll get to that. We're going to point that first cannon directly at the bombs. This one we just moved to the right just once. Drop our smoke bomb so we stay undetected, and our heavy arts and our glider, fire that way. All 5 shots hit. You stop at this little thing. By the way, I emptied that, so make sure you empty that if you're going to have a dedicated cannon person. Boom, fire off this second one, and then the cool slow-mo. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I really wouldn't do this, but it isn't bad if you're in the beginning and you're just farming parts, trying to just get 1 head break. I would recommend always trying to farm and getting as many pieces of his armor as you can. That's going to be my next segment, so we'll get into that in more detail. But yeah, but this is exactly how you do it. You're going to knock him down. If you get 8 cannon shots, you always knock him down. You're going to get free and massive head damage. Start working on that first part break. So yeah, if you're just starting off with Fatalis, this is a great way to open up, start farming some parts. You're not going to be beating him right away, and we'll get to that if I haven't already discussed it before as well. Anyways, that's about the end of this, and let's go into some Fatalis armor things you need to know. Alright, so this is how we want to start any version of the fight, whether it's farming or just playing to beat him. He's going to be standing. He's going to be, his front 2 feet are going to be off the ground. You want to just get his head softened, and this time he's going to instantly go down to all 4s. His legs are on the ground, and this is the best chance time you have to flinch shot him. You get 1,320 damage if you do it this way. If he's standing, you only get about 400 damage. Besides, when he's standing, there's other things you want to do. So anyways, that's your goal in the beginning. He's going to do some of these attacks where his body lunges at you. These are perfect for foresight slashes to help start charging your weapon and keeping it there. The longer you can keep your your sword in the red guys or your weapon charged, the better off you're going to be in this fight to get that DPS up to make sure you have a good chance of taking him out. Also know you can hit him with 2 dragon shots and always flinch him, except for a few moves like giant breath moves or things like that. Great opportunities to come in there and start getting some charge on your weapon. And if he does something punishable like a big breath attack, great opportunity to get a flinch shot or even a helm splitter if you have your weapon already charged. And when he's down on all 4s, make sure you focus on trying to land your attacks on his head. His head is down, so take that opportunity to get some head damage. Other than that, make sure you get your nice, sparkly, pretty, shiny things, because you're really going to need those. And that's about it for this segment. positioning is very important when you fight Fatalis, whether you're trying to bait some cones out, we'll talk about that, or you just want to be in position to punish his big breath attack, so you want to get to this side of his body, so always be in mindful of that. And when he does this breath attack, it finishes with this pool that you can use to foresight slash if you have good positioning and build up some charge again. Also know that all of his breath attacks, the last one and this one, and any big breath attack he does is Helm Splitter punishable. You have time, he has a huge animation wind up, so if you can be in the right position, you can make sure you get the right punish or get some charge out of it. To bait cone attacks, you just need to make sure you're in the right position. Don't be under him, you'll never get it. And don't be too far off from the side. You want to make sure you're in a position that's a little bit in front of him so he has the urge to do this. In phase 1 he'll do this a lot because he has a very limited move set, so this is the perfect time to bait out as many cones as possible. When you're Fatalis Eye specifically farming, you want to get a head break in phase 1, and this is the way to do it. Only focus on drawing out these cones. When you get this Helm Splitter in, aim it back towards his body because he's going to put his head back up, and you want to make sure you get that head damage. So make sure you get your first break in phase 1. In phase 2, you're going to use your binders, your railgun, everything immediately, because once you get the break, you're guaranteed to get the eye. Even if you return back to camp, you can go, just don't abandon the mission, then that doesn't count that way. But if you do it the other way to leave the mission, you still got the eye. Also be careful. I don't think I have evade extender on this set, and I'm going to eat a fireball here. This is why you want the right evasive set, and see, it kind of just comboed into that. So be careful when you're baiting out these cones, because you could get hit by some very powerful attacks. But if you do it correctly and you have the right equipment, it's going to be fairly easy once you get the hang of it. So cone attacks you're going to bait when his head is up. When his head is down, you're going to need to go in and get some damage, but there's some attacks you need to watch out for. Watch for flashing. See this flash? You see that? And get the hell out of dodge. That attack will one-shot you, and it has two parts where he does a giant flying swoop. This time he's going to get me with it, but I can survive it with my Divine Blessing. He's going to do another breath attack, and like we mentioned, breath attack, if you're positioned correctly, you get out of there and you highly punish it. And then during my punish, another one is coming. So like I said, you see the flash, get the hell out of dodge. Alright, to recap phase 1, if you're fighting him just to farm parts, just to get his first few pieces of equipment, you're going to do the cannon opener. You're going to weaken his head and his chest, and try to get as many flint shots as you can, and just do damage wherever you can to get as many shiny drops as possible. For the Fatalis Eye, phase 1 is about nothing but getting some cone attacks and doing flint shots in the wall. You just don't want to take down his HP any other way. You just want to get head damage, so you get a head break, and so you can work on the second break in phase 2. And once you get those 2 head breaks, you're guaranteed the eye. I'm going to show what you're going to do here for Fatalis Eye farming. Okay, so they got the notification that he's doing his attack. You're going to go to your shelter. You got time to buff, you got time to sharpen, and your binder shot becomes accessible. So I'm going to go ahead and use the ballistic gun and not try for the knockdown. I'm going to try to get more head damage, and then I'm going to immediately use the binder shot afterwards. So you can knock him down from this point if you get all of these shots to hit. They just have to connect somewhere on his body, so you can just aim at his chest. The smoke bomb is there so he can't immediately see you, and you do need to have heavy artillery in your temporal mantle to make that happen. You only get 1 artillery knockdown per fight, so if you do the cannon knockdown, that will no longer knock down. But if you don't get the knockdown, I'm going to show you what you can do. But anyways, for the Fatalis Eye, then I immediately go and I just use both binders, get him back down on the ground, get that head break to happen in the second phase, and then usually if I'm just farming the eye, I just quit and then do it again. But or you can go for the kill after that. But let me show you what you do if you don't get the knockdown with the railgun. This is when you're going to use the other type of binder shot ammo. Okay, so this is the beginning of phase 2 again, and I wasn't super specific about it, but make sure you get your binder shot. It's going to be on the front right here after you do your buffs and so forth, and make your way to the railgun. This is a little bit of a duplication of a clip. I just wanted to emphasize that you get that binder shot and the location. And as we just discussed before, I was going for just some head damage on this instead of the knockdown. Let me show you what happens if you don't get the knockdown from this for the artillery, and you can kind of save it for the next time you want to get a knockdown and you're going to use your ballistas. In my opinion, this is the best and really only use of the regular ballista cannon. Basically, if you don't get the knockdown from the artillery knockdown from the railgun, you can just hop down here, grab the regular ballista ammo, of course have your heavy art, and you can get a couple shots in. Sometimes I like to save this for even for phase 3 if I don't get that knockdown, and there it goes. And the last point I want to make about these binder shots is you generally, that's the other binder location, the shot ammo right near this ballista, and you generally want to get him bound right about this area so his head can be right near this platform. Makes it easily accessible to do some combos or do your helm splitter, that kind of thing. Again, if you're not needing the Fatalis eye, save both of these for phase 3. He's a much harder target in phase 3, doesn't stay grounded, and really that's about it. So phase 2 is much like phase 1. Just wanted to go over what to do with the weapons, but you're just trying to damage him. You're trying to get his head to break if you haven't done it already, or the second break if that's what you're going for. Make sure you get your opportunities to do as much damage as possible. Make sure you get your helm splitters when you can. Make sure you aim them right. As a correction, his HP is 66,000 for solo, 114,000 for 2 players, and 174,000 for 3 or 4 players. So you're going to have to make sure you're constantly damaging him. You're going to get the notification that phase 2 is over. He's going to do another giant breath attack. You're going to get back here as quickly as possible, flip this switch, put up the wall. If you're slow on it, the second phase of that breath attack will wipe you out. And then, buff, heal, do all your good stuff again. This is what I mentioned before. You got plenty of time throughout this fight where you have opportunities to heal yourself back up and buff. And if you had the binder shots, this is when you would immediately go for both of them in phase 3. But I did the Fatalis eye farm version, but you would just go for back-to-back, go to the right side, and get both of those binder shots right now, because phase 3, he's much more erratic. Okay, phase 3 begins with Fatalis in the air, and I just want to let you know that you can still, of course, flinch him to create some openings, and just clutch claw and soften his core. That's all you want to do when you have him up in the air. If you try anything else, he'll throw you off. Now, his core is a big weak spot in phase 3. It's the biggest weak spot he has. You do the most damage at his core, so you want to aim all your attacks there from here on out. Flinched him, went for the head, immediately threw me off. So avoid the head, avoid the legs, and eventually he'll come back down, and if he jumps back in the air, you're just going to do the same thing. Watch out for this attack. It's a doozy, so you're going to see some flashing. Get out of there. He's got some other breath attacks that he's going to do up there, so work on your spacing, flinch when you can, and when you create those openings, go for the core. That's going to do the most damage. That's the only thing you can do while he's up there is flinch and soften and get some damage on that core, and then he comes down, and then we get ready to fight him. Much the same, but a few new things as well. And yes, Timmy, you can mount Fatalis. This typically happens in phase 3, sometimes phase 2, but you just need a whole lot of aerial hits to actually make this happen, so a lot of times it just never happens for people, and it happens fairly frequently for me, not every fight, but pretty often. Once you have him mounted, just know that he has a attack coming up that it's kind of like a ground slither, and if he does that twice, you're getting thrown off regardless. If you're on his tail, that helps. But what you can do is just flinch, shot him while you're on him. Just hold your left trigger and press the right trigger to shoot your shot into him, and then you can get a few hits, shoot your shot into him, get a few hits. You can rinse and repeat and always bring Fatalis down. I make a little bit of a mistake. I went for his... No, I was still going for the Fatalis eye. That's why I went for his head. But generally, you want to go for his core because that's the biggest weak spot and you'll get the most damage there. But I was going for that head damage and I whiffed. Yeah, that's right. But anyways, go for the core when you have this happen. So in phase 3, Fatalis gains this 360-degree fire flame attack. Just do your best to avoid it. Superman dive, be next to one of those pillars, whatever you got to. He often does this back to back, so if he does this once, just know, just like every other big breath attack he has, it is highly punishable. So if he does it once, maybe go in and see if he does it again so you can get some major damage. He also does this pool attack that, just be careful, it's a delayed blast, so a lot of times you go early on your foresight slash, but you can foresight slash through it. I just don't recommend it. Just go for the damage. Okay, so phase 3 consists of 3 giant breath attacks that Fatalis will do, and they're all triggered when you take off a certain amount of HP, so they're kind of scripted events. And look at that roll. Once he does that, get close as possible to him as quickly as possible. It is a kind of a cone-shaped attack, so you can go around a little bit, but the best is to get here as quickly as possible. Buff, heal, do whatever you want. You got some time, and get your positioning for the next phase of the attack. There is one other way to escape that, and I'll show you. Okay, in phase 3, Fatalis will still do that giant breath attack. This time you just want to make sure you go for the chest, you know. If you haven't broken his head by now, you probably won't be alive right now, but just focus on that. So he eclipses his damage, he goes flying off, and this time I kind of get caught in his breath. So in an emergency, just heal yourself up, dust a life, and then Superman dive right when you see the big explosion coming. If you survive that, I took some damage, but I took less damage than I would have. And I should have done, but I was far enough away, is just stay on the ground. When you stay on the ground, you're immune to damage. Okay, next thing you need to know is the Dragonator. Make sure you try to fight him towards this end of the stage so he's already here. You can lure him here if he's going to slither or something like that. Watch out for fireballs, but you want to make sure you get both of these prongs in him and then get him down. You know, you can even proc sleep if you want to do that, but I wouldn't recommend. This isn't that type of guide, you know what I mean? Get a big damage. I think I had carded a little while ago, so I wanted to proc my Fortify. But you're going to prioritize getting your meter up rather than doing like a level 2 helm splitter or something like that. What else? There was something else that's coming up. Oh yeah, this railgun becomes active again. So after you use it, that's why you kind of want to use it when it first becomes available. And then after a bit of time in phase 3, it will become active again. And even if you don't have your temporal mantle, you can just go ahead and use it to get some big chest damage, and you know, even head damage if you were still going for the second break or something like that. Now this roll, I get kind of caught in again, and I start healing, and then I roll out of it because look how little damage I take because of those iframes during my roll. I mean, that's what I meant earlier, that it's going to save your ass so many times because you can't take damage while those iframes are active. Here goes the ballista gun. And he's not really looking at me, so I'm just kind of aiming at his chest, trying to get him to look at me. I'm not being too patient about it, like let me make sure every shot lands or anything like that. It's a little bit of a race against time, so I'm just trying to pump some extra damage into his chest. I'm not going to get a knockdown. I already did before. And really, I think that's about all for this segment. Alright, so you just carry on in phase 3, being this weird mix of kind of really careful and slightly aggressive too. For example, this is a breath attack that I usually avoid, but I know with his increased damage on his chest that the health regen I'm getting back for that damage increase is going to be nice with my divine blessing and such. I knew I was going to survive that, and then I just unnecessarily healed there, you know, just because it was in my muscle memory just to heal, so I did. I got a kind of a weak helm splitter, but the point is just to do as much damage and as much opportunities as you can. Now I'm going to heal to proc peak performance, as you know, like I said, so it's in my muscle memory to do because of what you need to accomplish during this fight, and stay at the chest, and boom, he's gone. I think this run, I didn't get the Fatalis Eye in this run because once you have enough and you're not farming specifically for it or helping somebody else do that, you just need to get one head break so you can survive phase 3, and then you go for the chest in phase 3 just to get him down and get him hurt and get through the 3 cycles of him doing his breath attacks. It's not so bad, you know, if you know what to do with those breath attacks, you got a good build to get through the flames. This isn't going to be a horrible fight. You just need to know what to do and then practice it and get your timing right, and it'll come. You know, I did a lot of these runs, and this was really fun but also very tedious, and you know, just shifting things around how I normally fight them was kind of interesting. But anyways, coming up next is going to be the run I'm going to show. I had some runs that looked really, really nice, but again, I wanted to show this guide for everyone on how to beat him, and not just beating him with a really good, skillful play, but having your equipment and everything else that you incorporated in this video, and you should incorporate in the fight, how it all synergizes to create a helpful fight. All right, let's go through a complete run. I just want to start off by letting you know that it is better not to have your Palico with this fight. I know his weapons are effective sometimes, but just how you need Fatalis to target you, especially to draw out those cone attacks, even though that's not what you're going to be doing constantly, you do need that to happen pretty frequently, just to make sure you're getting enough head damage. And your Palico tends to stay close to Fatalis, often preventing him from doing the big breath attacks. They just don't come out if you're right under him, and that's typically where your Palico is going to be. So you definitely you can beat him with your Palico, but you do want to not take him, and you're going to have a better time. All right, so we're going to start the fight, and I'm not doing the bomber opening. And we're just going to go ahead and work on getting that softened. I believe this is the clip that I showed earlier. Get his head softened. Oh no, this isn't. Okay, so he didn't immediately come down. He's still on up on all fours. And I'm going to go ahead and soften his chest as well, because I'm not going for the Fatalis eye in this one. I'm just going for the win. So I just need to get one head break, so I'm not concerned about making sure I get that head break in the first phase. You pretty much have to get it in the first phase if you're going to want to get the Fatalis eye. So the breath attack got out of there, and now I'm just working on getting that. I noticed that he came down on all fours and banged him. Got the head damage, 1320. He gets enraged. And now, just a basic function of the game, he's enraged. All your attacks are going to do more damage. And I'm just going to try to stick and move close to his head. And if he does, yep, there he does a big breath attack, I get in there and start working on building up my gauge. He is going to go further back as he does that attack. So you need to get up close to his legs. And you'll get some head pot shots while you're doing that. Okay, there goes that big double two-phase attack. Anytime you see that, get out of there. Get some headshots in, some flying headshots. They do more damage. Builds up some, mount attacks. I don't know. I don't think I get a mount in this. I might. I'm not sure. Use this opportunity to gain some meter. Now I got my full meter. Excellent. I can start actually doing some major damage to him. And I took another opportunity to get some head damage with my glider mantle. I do this a lot because it's a pretty safe way to get some damage, and a lot of times you get his head. But now that he's upright, I'm going to want to start, getting him to cone. Oh, no, he comes back down. That's a good point. You can foresight slash that attack right there. It's a little tricky on the timing because it's a rather long attack when he's coming down. But if you're at a decent position where you're not right in front of him, it's much easier to get that foresight slash. Another breath attack, and oh no, yes, breath attack. No, it wasn't a breath attack, but I just went for the foresight or the helm splitter. Here comes a charged attack. Wanted to get out of there. So there's a lot of, this is not a fight you ever want to be overly aggressive where you're just trying to get attack after attack in. You have to be smart about it. You have to know where to get your attacks, when to go for the head, mainly in the beginning, go for the head, and stick and move, just like a good boxer. You don't want to be in one place too long. It does another breath attack. Okay, it's time to get some charge on my weapon since I expended it. And I whiffed his head that time, but went in and got a few more hits. And now I think I have the ability to go ahead and charge the weapon. Oh no, another foresight slash on that lunging attack, and that's how I got my charge. Excellent. So at this point, I'm just more familiar with his moves. I know what to do when I start just seeing them coming. And yeah, baited out that cone. And let's go get some damage. Get that bubble that showed up. Got another foresight slash off of that. Another big breath, or flashy ground attack. Get out of there. He's still upright. Let's start to, see if we can get some cones again. Come on, turn around. There you go. There we go. We get another cone. Not quite at full meter. And I got a flinch. So when you're doing that head damage, as you're approaching the threshold, you need to break his parts. He's going to go through a couple of those flinches. So if you're, damaging his head and you see those flinches start to occur, good job. You're doing the right thing. and keep up whatever you're doing. He was de-enraged and was on all fours. So, first two phases, if he's on all fours, your priority is to bang him into the wall. If he's enraged, your priority is just to get in and get as much head damage as you can while avoiding those. Get your shiny objects while avoiding the big flashy breath attacks and the ones that cause the flash in the screen. And then when he's up on his two legs, then you're just constantly trying to bait cone attacks. And that's your cyclical feature that you're pretty much going to do phase 1 and 2 to make sure you get the damage requirements you need to kill him and get that head break as well. Let's see. Lunged at me, used my rolls. Oh, by the way, that evade extender and evade window 5 is why all my rolls are so successful. If you're having problems dodging and getting out of the way and you don't have those features, that's exactly why. You now have a very long distance roll, and the majority of the frames you're doing that roll, you're actually, right there again, you're actually immune to damage because of evade window being at level 4. And evade window is definitely something that does affect the vulnerability window of your rolls. Back to being upright again, so let's start baiting some cones again. Get into this distance. I have access to either side if he decides to do the cone. That's why you want to be at this distance, because if you're too far to the left or too far further back, you're either going to get hit by the cone, or you're just not going to be able to get in to do the damage you need to. And there he goes. Comes back down. Your better players are going to be, spacing and timing this a little bit better, so they're constantly doing foresight slashes or helm splitters when that cone happens. But you don't have to. Just take advantage of every opportunity you have to do damage, and make sure you get damage done in those opportunities. And phase 1 is over. I forget exactly how much health you have to get down. I don't know. It's like a percentage, 10, 15, 20, something like that. But once that's done, you start phase 2. He does his breath attack. You hide in that area. You get your binder shot, and we're going to... I didn't go for the railgun this time because my temporal mantle isn't recharged yet. So you definitely want to have your heavy artillery on that mantle so you can make that happen. Oh, nice little dive there. Good job, me. So I just went ahead and went for the binder. I'm not going for the Fatalis eye. I am going for the kill, but this time I do want to... I haven't broken the head yet, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and use one of these binders now, and I whiff that attack, and I get a kind of poor helm splitter and didn't get much head damage on it. But that's my thought process, I'm not going for the eye, so let's go ahead and make sure this head break happens fairly soon. And then also, it's giving me a little bit more time for my mantle to recharge back up. I need to see that his head needs to be resoftened, so that's going to be a priority now. And he just blew me off with that last fireball. These fireballs are attacks you definitely want to avoid. However, if you are underneath, and let's say you can do a helm splitter, he's going to do 3 of them, so you have time to lunge one into his body and get that done. But you can't do any grappling attacks on him while he's doing that, because it'll just blow you off. Another breath attack, and whenever he's going to do that smash attack where he falls on you, he's going to raise up, have this nice big animation like he just did. So you can either get out of the way or try to prepare for a foresight slash, something like that. That roll helped me out there in that explosion too. So I should have gotten hit by that explosion as I got up and rolled, but because I had my iframes extended, that's the reason I got out of that. This is what I mean, people. This roll, you need to have your roll being extremely buffed. So my mantle recharged. I went ahead and dropped my smoke bomb, so he kind of loses sight of me, but he didn't too much. This is why you want to have your temporal mantle on, so when he comes charging at you, you don't immediately get knocked off. You got your temporal mantle, or if he shoots a fireball at you or something to try to knock you off. I did not get the artillery knockdown here, like I mentioned before, but that's okay. I don't always need to get it in that moment. I use my flinch dragon pods there to get a flinch, create an opening that way. So like I said, all these mechanics, all these weapons, what to do, how to flinch him. See, again, he was down on the ground. I noticed it. Boom. So these are the things that come by having to grind the fight a little bit, so you just become more aware of these situations that this opening has just presented itself to you. And once you get used to those situations, then you're going to be much better at punishing all these attacks that you're going to need to. And here comes another cone. Get some more damage. A little sloppy there. And so now I grab some ballista ammo. And I don't think I wanted to use it just yet, but I have it just in case I want to go ahead and get that artillery knockdown that I have not yet gotten. This might be the clip that I used earlier. Yeah, I think it is. I think I end up saving it for phase 3 because I didn't get it, but I did get some good head damage with the ballista, and boom, got my helm splitter, and look at that. Nice, solid damage to the head. Make sure you aim it back towards the body like I mentioned, and you'll get that. And if he's slow to recover, sometimes he doesn't go immediately into an attack. You have time to get that charge right back if he doesn't go immediately into an attack. Flashing, get out of there. Double stage attack. He was close, so I rolled. Remember, my rolls are practically godlike now. And that's what's saving me more than anything else. Divine Blessing does come in handy. Another flint shot. Missed that. I think this is where I break the head. Okay. See, that first hit doesn't even have to be on the head, because this other one will. Oh no, I didn't break the head just yet. You do need to capitalize on, on your opportunities on every breath attack. Either get your full Spirit Gauge combo in, or get a good helm splitter. These things are going to be needed, because the more damage you can do earlier in the fight, the better, and the end of the fight's going to go. But the end of the fight has some mechanics, like the supercharged weak spot of the chest, that help things go much, much faster and much easier. But that is a requirement. The requirement is that you do break this head. So when it comes to that point, you can just focus all your attacks on his chest. Trying to bait some cones again, and sometimes he's going to do that, the slither all the way across the screen. Usually gives you a decent opportunity to soften immediately after that if you need to. The triple bite. Back up on his legs. Let's see if we can get another cone. And again, it's just another, other videos that I've mentioned is forming this cyclical battle plan. Really, the whole idea of that kind of originated from this fight in the first place. And here goes another cone attack. Was, I didn't really use so many Monster Hunter mechanics as my first playthrough through the game, and I was about halfway through Iceborne until I really stopped becoming like a mashing player and actually started putting together some, Raging Brachydios Teostra sets, and that made me really squishy, so I had to really start to learn how to survive and play and things like that. So that's about what happened. Aim back towards the head, boom, got that first head break. I love that. I love that. Get as much damage as possible. Now that this horn is broken, again, I don't believe this was an attempt I was specifically looking to get the eye. By the way, if you notice that sometimes those helm splitters come down a little bit faster, it's because I'm mashing triangle while I'm up in the air. If you mash triangle, it'll come down faster, so sometimes when a monster is getting up or moving out of the way and you're thinking, oh crap, I'm going to miss, you can make sure you get the hit. And that pretty much took care of his threshold for phase 2. You went behind the gate here, and now I'm buffing, and I believe I have one more binder shot, and I've yet to topple him over with an artillery knockover. So that's kind of why I used that binder. I was like, okay, let's go ahead and get the binder so I can make sure I get the head break in phase 1, and I will use that artillery when it recharges. And I was pretty sure I wasn't, because generally when I'm attacking specifically for the head on the roaming ballista, I don't generally get the knockdown because I miss some of the shots. You got to hit all the shots if you want to make that happen. So went ahead after phase 3 and got this sucker down, but he knocked me out. At this point I notice I'm short on health, so remember, you can always farcast and go back to camp and stock up and go right back down. 30 minutes, a lot of times you run out of time when you guys have been fighting them, but you do have plenty of time to fight them if you're doing enough damage and doing the right things. So when you need to do something like go back to camp, it's not going to be an issue. You're not going to be worried about not getting what you need. So I think at that moment I decided I still have one binder. I'll save that for a little later, and let's go ahead and get this done. And then I came back, and I still had my mantle. So I was like, all right, let's do some damage. Let's use up this mantle. Let's get into his chest. It's phase 3. We got a good, nice weak spot. Let's get as much damage as humanly possible. And saw another flashy attack there, so got out of there. So a lot of this fight now is, doing as much damage as you can and being as reactive as you can defensively. So you're gonna... Oh, I baited out the cone, but I missed. I wasn't intending to feint there, but I realized I did feint, and I did have Fortify. So I was like, okay, I'm going to play a little bit more aggressively, even more so aggressively in this next phase, because I do want to cart one more time, just so I can show you the damage numbers that 2 procs of Fortify will give you. Generally going into this fight, after you eat, you're usually looking at about 13-ish hundred attack power with your weapon, and that's without your drugs and all that stuff. And I think with everything, with the drugs, with Fortify, I think it gets up to like the 1700s. So it's a huge damage increase. So now I'm just trying to get as much chest damage. I remembered after that first cart that I do want to show 2 carts. So wherever I can, I'm just going to get in there, get as much damage as I can, and eventually I'm going to cart. I think actually it was kind of slow to happen, so I kind of made it happen here on his next breath attack. Yeah, that's what happened. Try to foresight slash that little bomb, but it was delayed. I hate that one because his other breath attacks go off a little bit sooner, so I got those timing, not breath attacks, the ones that leave the flames on the ground, but that one's always delayed and it always just throws off my timing. This is when I cart again. Oh no, it's a little later, sorry. I do take a little lunge. Okay, that's another one of his new flame attacks, a 360 attack. So I saw it happening. So while it was happening, I just try to make my way closer to him, just in case he did it again. Because if he does it a second time, it's a great punish. But even though he didn't do it a second time, I was still able to get in there and get some damage done. Played a little sloppy and got hit by that. Lucky I didn't cart there. Baited out the cone, but I was too far away. This is what I mean. If you're not in the right distance, you're going to be too far away. So by the time you do get around the attack, it's going to be too far away. So when you get close to him, you're going to miss your opportunity to do the punish. This is his first big breath attack. He's going to have 3 of these in phase 3. Got out of the way. Healed up, buffed up, and going to go ready to get at him some more. What's going on here? 10 minutes left. Oh, still plenty of time. This is where yeah, he does his breath attack, and I thought I would try to be cute and try to see if I could fly over it. I couldn't, because it does have a much higher hurt box than you think it would. And there goes the cart. This one I'm not going to skip the animation or fast forward. Oh, I did. But basically, if you go back there, it showed the damage after the Fortify. I forgot what it was. But just get back there and you'll see what it was. And that's without eating, but I did have all my buffs of, Demon Powder, Might Seed, all that stuff. Just no food, because I just wasn't able to. Alright, what's going on here? Oh, the Roaming Ballista recharge, so might as well. Had everything back active again. And I'm going to get the artillery knockdown that way. There it is. You get one of those per fight. You can do it with the cannons. And I don't know why I softened his head. Looks like I'm going for the Fatalis eye, but I remember this attack, or this run was just to beat him. So that was a little bit of a mistake. I should have gone into his chest. There we go. I think I remembered now. I was like, oh, well, I was supposed to go for the chest. So I softened the chest because, it's a super weak spot, but you can still soften it to get even more damage there. There goes the binder. I went ahead and used it now because I did cart, and I want to go ahead and get my weapon back up, charged up. And it's just a good idea to do in phase 3, because now even on my weakest weapon setting, even though it's just charging up, I'm still doing so much more damage on him, on his chest that's been softened and super weak spot, than I would have if I was doing it on phase 2. You know what I mean? If I was doing it in phase 2, I would have got some decent damage, but here you're going to get some killer damage. So that's why you want to do it in phase 3. Again, unless you're farming the eye like we talked about before. Look at this. I'm going to roll through this frame. Look how much health is actually coming off my health bar. Very, very little. That's because all those invulnerability frames while I'm rolling. Even though I'm in the flame, it's not damaging me. There's a very small window that it can damage me, so it's very small that it does. And my rolls are extended, like we mentioned before, and because they're so hyper-extended, you just have a huge, huge window of not getting hurt and being able to breeze through those breath attacks. The Dragonator's ready. I wait till I can draw them up as close as possible, like we talked before. Bam! Got both of those in there. Now let's go directly to the chest again, and we're gonna beat that chest. Oh, nice! Got my Helm Splitter finally. Get some massive, massive damage, and you got time. Go ahead and charge up your blade again. I believe even when he does this attack, you got... Oh, no. I was supposed to do a foresight slash there. So after you do the Dragonator and get your Helm Splitter or whatever, as he's getting back up, just get ready to do a foresight slash, because there's going to be an opportunity to get your gauge right back. Alright. Still working on that damage to the chest. Trade-off. I knew I was going to get hit there, but, you know, race against the clock and such. I'm not panicking or anything like that, but you just always want to be mindful. Another one of these, and maybe this attempt was I was trying to get the eye. I can't. Usually I just go directly for the chest when I'm just going for the win. I never go for the eye. Again, I heal myself up. I get stuck in the flame. I roll myself through it and barely take the damage I should have with all that fire around me. That's a situation where if I did not have my rolls, that flame and the previous flame, I would have carted. And that would have been, you know, the end of the fight. I already had 2 carts, and it would have been over. Same thing here. I get caught towards the lip of it, and I roll my way out of it. Definitely have your evade window. 3 minimum, 4 is nice, 5 is always wonderful, and always have your jump extender to at least 2, but I like putting 1 more in my mantle, so when I'm wearing this mantle, I just basically have godlike rolls. And like we mentioned before, with your evasion, with your divine blessing, with your fortify skills, your rolls are going to be just ways to get out of jail free, you know? Here comes another breath attack. Get in there. Boom. It's time to punish with this, the Helm Splitter. Get some decent damage. I think I didn't get the greatest on that one either. And there it is. That's the end of the fight, you know? This fight at this point is about 23 minutes. So I had 7 minutes to spare. Again, I'm not trying to show like the most flashiest, wonderful Fatalis fight that has ever existed. This is just for everybody else, you know. We all want this armor. We all want to be able to beat this guy. You just have to have understanding of the game, the mechanics, the monster, your weapon, you know, your inventory of your items. You know, all these things matter when this fight is your challenge, you know, and you can definitely do it, and you can do it with a build that's less optimal than this. Of course, you just have to raise your skill play just a little bit higher to get there, but you know, it can be done. So thank you for joining me. This is your guide. This is everything you need to know to beat this monster, and if you apply all these things, you will definitely beat him. No ifs, ands, or buts. I have that much faith in you guys. We are all on our way to become master hunters, and I want to see you do it. So once again, thank you for joining me. Put a lot of time and a lot of energy into this one, so if you guys really appreciated this or just enjoyed it, please share it, please like it, please subscribe. This is what I do with games. I like to do deep dive videos, and I like to bring you as much information as I possibly can. Thank you all, and have a wonderful evening.